Welcome back to day one of the World's quarterfinals, where Origin is just a win away from advancing to the semis in Brussels. But Flash Wolves has shown renewed life. But gentlemen, the theme of this series is slow, 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 and then chaos.
Yeah.
And see who comes out at the end of that.
These games are being methodical, slow pace, and they're like, oh, chaos style, and then they have no idea what is going on. And the reason why that is because they don't get a chance to feel each other out in terms of how the opponents react to a certain mechanical play. So an example, that last game we saw Amazing try to go for a flash body slam on Gragas, and it didn't work. Maple reacted quickly enough and just flashed away. And that's something that if he had put more pressure in the mid lane, had interacted more with Maple throughout the entire series, he would have known, okay, this is a player that's going to flash away preemptively. He's not going to wait for it. And we're not getting a lot of that, and that's why chaos happens, and we see the play in which there's a mixed call of Baron trying to finish it off or whatnot, just because they don't really understand how each player is playing in the specific roles, and it just creates a lot of mess. And it was at least a refreshing change to see the Flash Wolves take a more, I guess, calm approach to the game.
It's like a bomb that has like a fuse that is like 40 minutes long, and then you know?
And you just watch it, watch it until. All right. Well, given this play style that we've discussed, you know, where or how do we expect teams to react as they've learned this? You know, they are picking up some tendencies now because we're in Game 4, so hopefully they've learned a few things through the 120 minutes of gameplay that we've seen. But, you know, in both the champions that they pick and the way they decide to play out this fourth game, what do we expect to see?
I feel like from Origin side, it starts off in the draft. They need to start picking lane matchups that are good for them. I feel like from Blue side, instead of prioritizing the Lulu, they should prioritize the Elise, because Lulu on the other side, I feel like putting stake on Lulu is like a good thing. They don't have the tank from that side, and I don't imagine Maple is going to play Lulu because I think he deserves a lot more responsibility. So just put Elise on Amazing, bam, there you go.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier. The easiest way to get a winning lane matchup is pick Elise. She makes all your laners win straight away. But the two people I do want to look at, because Peke and Niels, to me, are playing very good League of Legends. Peke less so that game, but Niels still okay League of Legends. But Mithy and Amazing, Mithy is like good game one and then kind of iffy throughout the rest, and Amazing hasn't shown up yet. And the big thing to me is that Casa is playing good League of Legends right now, but he hasn't had a Casa game. This guy is known to go off and just completely carry. Like, think of his Lee Sin games, think of his Nidalee game, where he's just dishing out the damage. If he goes off in this game, we can completely see a Game 5. So I completely agree. Like, priority pick your slumping jungler, his best champion, which is Elise. Get some easier turret dives, be able to dictate the tempo of the mid game, and try and make something happen.
Well, once again, it's do or die for the Flash Wolves, so let's head inside the venue for Game 4.
Thank you very much, Dash. Yep, he's got it right. We're getting ourselves into Game 4 very, very shortly, guys. It's going to be an important match here. Flash Wolves, of course, still backs against the wall, but of course they have the chance to tie it up at 2-2 and bring it to that fifth and final game for the spot in the semis. Origin just got to sort out all those issues that were losing them a lot of these mid games.
Yeah, and I think this is Origin's best opportunity to close the series, because as the lower seeded team, they only get side choice in games 2 and 4. So they would be the favored team in this matchup, even if the teams are just 50-50, which I think that's a very close matchup. It'll be real dangerous for Origin if they lose this game, because then they'd go back onto the red side for that final one. So it's really important if Origin wants to move on to semifinals. I think that they win this game right now.
And I think as far as we get ourselves into picking bans, I don't want to see Origin go for the, oh, we'll take the Jinx away. It's just, I don't think it's a good champion for Niels. I don't think it fits his play style. I don't think he's very good at the champion as an overall situation. So Origin getting rid of the important picks and picking things they actually want to play for themselves, at least so has won the lane on them.
I think there's a case to be made to just get rid of the Morgana and Sword Art, either by taking it away on Miffy, who can play a fantastic Morg, or just simply banning it out. Now you have the freedom on the blue side. You could also just simply see a Jinx ban, but again, no Jinx ban. That Varus, they rated higher, so they must be operating with some information from scrims back in the day. We don't know what these teams know about each other, but
Lulu again.
It really feels like Origin prepared a blue side and a red side ban strategy. And unless something very, very rash happened in the games, which they've been able to control these games pretty decently on both sides, they're just sticking exactly with the same bans as they did the last time, which was game 2.
It is a mentality you see, especially on older players and just veterans, where instead of looking at the draft, you keep looking at the game and you get a lot of these, what they call what-ifs. You know, if we didn't make this mistake, our draft was fine, we just overextended here. If we didn't make this small mistake, but you don't take into account the mistakes the opposing team made, you never go like, oh, if they play this a little you know, a little worse or a little better, the game could have been entirely different. So in that regard, Origin could have maybe been wiser to change their ban strategy, but they could same thing.
Like run the first pick, Lulu. Also, just interesting that they're banning away the Varus, even though Flashwolves haven't shown a propensity to play the champion at all. And
Karsa taking away the Rek'Sai here, or picking the Rek'Sai instead of trying to take away the Elise, I think is better for Flashwolves. We also see continuous pressure being kept up by Karsa on that Rek'Sai. No downtime on that champion. She can always just ulti back into wherever position she wants with the tunnels. And then late game becomes the split pusher to really open up the map. So Flashwolves have been doing a great job utilizing that Rek'Sai pick.
These games have been going so late, and there's such a small amount of action until people are hitting like major item breakpoints. I think instead of a team drafting this incredibly strong early game, rush the game down, win it fast, like these teams made it to the quarterfinals by playing to their strengths, not by compensating for their weaknesses. So I'd actually expect both of these guys to just pick late game, good map pressure, team compositions and champions. And Origin does steal away the Morgana here, which is the first major variation we see in the draft.
Still, it's the Jinx for Niels, though, and maybe it'll get a little bit better. NL's already grabbed the Caitlyn, insta-locks it. And thing is, NL topped the damage charts of the game on Caitlyn last time around. It's not like this is going to make him not do much damage.
But he used two things to his advantage. One, the initial range advantage to get the first hit. That can get nullified by speeding up Niels himself, just trading first autos. And secondly, he used Black Shield to be able to stay alive in these aggressive positioning fights. Right now, the Black Shield's on Niels, and if we go back to some of the games Niels has played over in Europe, he's shown to be a fantastic player when people run a Jugger X composition, Jugger Kalista, Jugger Maul. If you have both the defensive support and a Lulu pick, he just plays at the front line, sidestep skill shots, and he tears the team apart just 1v5. So he can definitely fill that role.
There's also a chance they could throw that Morgana into a solo lane and still pick up Tahm Kench, which would be the absolute absurd protection composition, probably too far on that side, but it's still possible.
Yeah, it'd be hard playing Morgana into Victor and just actually trying to navigate the mid-range team fights there. Just he belts out so much damage. I do think Morgana has decent mid-lane damage, to be fair to the champion, but yeah, I think it's still very unlikely. Bottom lane and mid-lane matchups shown means Origin will have to choose where this Lulu goes and pick their full lineup.
And now NL will likely not have the potential to freeze a wave that long, because if Amazing picks up the Elise he was looking for earlier to go for that massive chain CC combo, it's incredibly hard for mid laners like Maple to keep clearing that wave and avoid getting dove, because Elise can reset. Worst case, Gragas goes in, gets a wild growth anyways. So if Origin get ahead, they should have learned from their mistake last game and can open up the map more.
Well, I don't think we're going to see Kalista and Jinx in the same team comp, but maybe back to the Anivia here. She actually does a good job of belting out team fight damage just as a champion, high AP builds. And
I mean, look at the peel. Again,
tremendous peel. Even without the Tahm Kench, it's probably enough to keep Niels alive for a very, very long time. Also, both of Origin's wins came with Peke on Anivia. These games are going 40 minutes plus. Anivia and Peke can get away with these slow laning phases, and then when the Chaos button hits post 30 minutes and fights are in the jungle, he's been able to crush and control.
One thing that's weird, though, is Origin do not have a true tank here, though. Amazing on Elise, not the tankiest of junglers. Even if she does go Cinderhulk here, but with the breaking through that front line, Flashwolves can do it, I would say, fairly easily.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially a late game Caitlyn against a bunch of squishies is just...
It's a field day.
Perfect. Would they go with an Aurelia, though? It's something that Stake has played in the past. It just feels so weird in the context of this world.
It's too clunky. He gets nullified by too many of the abilities on Origin's side.
Look at it, like there's so many things that can stun him, and he's not a true tank if he jumps in. It looks like I don't see them changing in last minute, though.
Nope, locked in. So more importantly, just a Black Shield negates the stun.
Wow.
If Aurelia can't stun the target she's sticking on, and then Wild Growth kind of counters that, Flashwolves are going for a completely different approach in these mid-game fights where they just want to overrun you. Like, you're looking at one threat, trying to peel well to another threat, and they just pile in. But if the initial opening engage doesn't work, they're done for.
Be something to watch for then. You know, they had some initial engage in their previous red side game with Malphite top coming in for the Flashwolves, but here they're going to try to go forward once again. Caitlyn, though, still in the back line, could put out some good damage from NL, but Origin with a bunch of ranged champions, a bunch of mages.
And again, another game where Origin, if they successfully lane swap, they nullify a lot of the advantages that potentially Flashwolves have in terms of lane matchups and in team fights. Like, Aurelia in a lane swap is ludicrously bad. Aurelia out of the lane swap coming into mid-game teamfights just sucks against this lineup. So by all means, Flash was want normal standard lanes.
Stake needs to hit Trinity Force very early on in the game, and then Mercury Treads very early on as well, and then does not let Origin scale up. Otherwise, he's this hybrid damage dealer that doesn't fit against all the CC that Origin is bringing, even though, yes, Aurelia does have some of the highest tenacity in the game thanks to the passive, but like, you're just going to die.
Well, we'll see what happens then, and if you think he's going to survive and make the team fights work anyway, then you can say Flash will win this one by tweeting #FWWin. But if Origin will close out the series in Game 4 and move on to the top 4, it's #OGWin.
And finally, both supports learning that this matchup is incredibly passive in the early game, and are finally both bringing Exhaust to the table. If you're getting games that are not bloody at all, you want Exhaust, because the late game value from that Summoner spell compared to an Ignite is just, it is a whole world difference.
Interestingly enough, I would say the Exhaust value is higher for Mithy in this matchup because he can Exhaust Aurelia when he engages, but Origin doesn't have like true Exhaust target. Maybe if he's like, yeah, that's pretty much it, right? He lands his hook, flies into the middle of the team and throws an Exhaust and blocks down. I'm still a little flabbergasted by the Aurelia pick. I don't think it fits. Like it needs to snowball really, really hard, which hasn't been Flash full strength.
Find Stake. Going for the bind. It will land, and the chompers will go in, so Stake will flash. But if chompers
level 1.
Yep. Niels picks a suboptimal level 1 skill. Now, Minigun is only 30% attack speed at rank 1, and you will hit level 2 before you reach the turret. So in terms of pushing in a lane swap, Niels shouldn't be held down too far.
Yeah, lane swap even more valuable right now for Origin. Stake kind of avoids playing with no flash in that sense, though. If it is a lane swap, that is the one good thing for Flash Wolves here. Because going into an Elise Woohoo matchup there with no flash, you will get Dove level 3.
Minions have spawned.
So this kind of solidifies the lane swap here for Origin. They could actually give level 2 experience on Krugs here to Mithy, and let Amazing Soul take a camp.
So Neil's recalling.
I think he's buffering the recall. See if somebody shows.
Yeah. It'd be a very peculiar recall, but then he walks through a ward, so lane's completely given away.
He saw it fade though, so they know that they know, you know.
Well, I feel like if this happens a lot.
They saw him put it down too.
This happens a lot where someone walks over a ward that dies, and then because they weren't looking at their screen, they didn't see it. The fact that they didn't ping, maybe, but honestly, it doesn't matter in the context of this game.
Just to annoy a lot of people out there, sub-optimal Krugs right there.
Yeah, he doesn't sit in the brush while attacking his Caitlyn.
And he doesn't use the AoE twice on a small one. If you have a double flake Q AoE, man, just spread that out. Spread the love. Spread the damage.
All right, so already misplays from Flash Wolves.
Game losing.
A worrying trend for them coming into Game 4 here. They need to win this one to stay alive. Sword Art. Oh, cute play. Steals one bit of the red buff to get level 2.
And then nearly kills himself.
Watch Peke flash.
But a 4-man
watch Peke flash QE and get the kill.
Stake's already low, though. He has a guaranteed stun as Aurelia here. Maple doesn't care about how much damage he's taking in the trade. He's trying to make Expecte walk up to him.
He was successful.
And there's a flash play into Exhaust. Karsa.
Dead. Flash
knockup. Peke turns into an egg. Maple survives it. Easy first blood, and it goes to Maple.
Total choice and freedom on who they give that to. Stake flies in for the assist goal at the end of the day. That's the second time Flash Wolves has done a very early rotation mid lane for that gank. Peke was not respecting it. Really great bait by Maple, I would have to say. Peke completely bought it, and it cost him his life.
You gotta compare what happened to the side lanes, though, because Flash Wolves spent all of their spare resources on the mid lane gank. Top lane turret is going to die here.
Peke's like, gang?
Turret not getting hit at all.
I never died. I'm back in the lane 10 seconds later. I don't know what happened.
Where did all this gold come from for my lane opponent, though? Yeah. That's strange.
Okay, Niels shares gold. So as... Oh, he didn't block the minions well enough, and Niels
couldn't get them all.
Loses 10 seconds on his recall. Peke, yeah, he's okay in this matchup with TP, can recoup a lot of his losses. Bot lane will go down after all.
Maple's running Cleanse. I don't think it's that great running Cleanse in this matchup, because Expected can get the Frost on you anyways. Post level 6. Again, teleport could help here.
I think he's really worried about Cocoon, Binding, Anivia Q. There's so many types of stuns that can land.
Nah, probably rather.
Yeah, it's not a pick for the matchup.
In an isolated lane matchup, perhaps it's not the best, but later in the game, Cleanse does actually bring a lot of value, especially if Maple goes for a similar build where he wants to get Abyssal up front, which he ran into double AP earlier today with an AP jungler. Actually makes more sense if he goes for that build again.
I want to put out that Karsa has 1 CS up until now. He hit level 2 on Rek'Sai.
Just double the CS.
Whoa! At 4 minutes.
Snowballing.
More levels than he has
so
CS right now.
Most supports are like that. Look at Morgana.
First jungler at Worlds to achieve that feat. Congratulations.
You spawn at level 1 with 0 CS. Congratulations, everyone did that.
Fair enough, Freak.
Sorry.
Pedantic.
I know, I
Love that word.
It describes me so well. Talk about a Nivea ulti mechanic like it matters.
Good last thing here by Peke.
Yeah.
Seeing the AoE stun. Rank 1 though, so Peke is one of the players that likes taking wall at rank 4 on Anivia. Generally, Anivia players don't opt for that because it is just too mana inefficient to even use that, weave that into a spell rotation. It's only useful if you can combine and gank and you kind of go for an all-in style approach. Amazing. Now look at the gank here.
I've also seen Peke successfully dodge some ganks with it. I actually like it more when he holds his skill point at level 4 until he's about to go aggressive or until the gank comes, but he skilled up the wall really early here.
Big push under his turret. We're going to see how much of that SOAS can actually deny here. SOAS 25 to stakes 12 so far. Despite Flashwell's having first blood, Origin is actually ahead in gold right now.
It's amazing. It's Amazing's farm. He's been power farming the jungle this whole time.
Yeah, he doesn't even care if he's spotted. He walks straight through mid lane and says, well, farm alarm, I'm getting level 6 here for my at least power spike, you know, stronger spiderlings.
One more spiderling.
But again, also more farm efficient in terms of average. It's a small difference right here, but because it's very accelerated lane swap happened, you have both of these AD carries in awkward itemization positions. Average Blaze versus second Thorns.
Yeah, I didn't feel like it mattered that much when Karsa was helping to get the gank and was staying low on CS because of that, but now he spent a lot of time going in to get deep wards while not actually farming Amazing's jungler, so the gap between these two junglers is only widening.
And the efficiency of that gank just drastically goes down if the mid laner runs teleport. That actually used to be a very successful play in lane sauce because it would tilt the matchup so far in favor of one guy, but you saw Peke, his egg drop bases, teleports back into lane, and he's continuously playing aggressive on Maple, so he's playing as if nothing really happened.
Maple with cleanse, not the ignite or an exhaust or anything super aggressive in the matchup, so looks like he's not able to really punish Peke. Oh, what?
What?
Whoa, try to make the play, but flashes into a stun, and Peke doesn't even care that just happened.
Good reaction from Peke to proc that stun though, because he was likely aiming for max range on Maple or even CS.
Yeah, I think that was a setup for the CS.
But he procced it, you know?
That was a ridiculous series of events because also he stunned him so quick, Maple didn't have time to draw turret aggro when he flashed in. So he didn't even get like the proper turnaround. Still, flashed down on Maple as he was trying to get super aggressive for a play.
Yeah, Maple was trying to use the level advantage that he left, level 6 against level 5, to just blow up Peke with no egg, which you can do because he's spinning on low health. But look at Peke's change in build path too. He goes for an early chalice because he knows he can actually just get exploded in this matchup. He may go for an Athene's build here. A little quicker just in terms of map influence from Anivia.
Very true.
Just playing the farm game from as far away as possible. Peke's summoners are back up now, so full power in terms of retreating and getting back to lane.
Neil's actually looking to set up a bit of a freeze in the bot lane. You upon them as they do onto you.
Right now it's +6. SOAS actually equal to stake right now, so in as much as we had a lane swap game, we got the lanes back to normal pretty quickly. The top laners are only, 6 CS behind the AD carry. Now a flash play on towards Peke. Oh my god, he's immediately an egg. And once again, kill goes to NL this time.
Spread the love between them. Peke doesn't actually have time to use a summoner spell. So Flashwolf setting up a pretty heavy camp towards that mid lane. That was even the small window that Niels had freezing that wave, even though now the freeze is broken. It's immediately punished by Flashwolf with that roam mid.
That was greedy. I just watched that play. Sword Art was on a ward for over 5 seconds before he pathed into the mid lane for that flash play. That was ultimate read by Peke. He could have easily made it out. All he had to do was drop the CS. Stop farming.
Looks like the rest of Origin, though, wanting to take as much as they can, making Karsa jump over the wall to his own red buff, but really not a lot gained here. Origin still doing better on farm as we expect, but they are dropping a lot of kills now in this game.
Got the CS though.
Yep.
Back in lane, quick teleport from Peke, trying to keep up in experience. The game itself, despite the 2 deaths, has pretty much even gold for now, although a large wave is hitting NL on the bottom side as well as the top side, so this is actually a decent lead for Flash.
It's a weird, really efficient build. If you calculate in that later on in teamfights, expected dying will not generate any gold, because you'll do like 0-3. It does give it more experience towards Flashos as a team.
Well, keep in mind, if you get CS, you actually roll back the death streak anyway.
Tiny bit, yeah. But it requires a lot of CS for that to...
Every 100 CS counts for 1 death. And it's not like a quick thing as when you hit 100 it's all the way, it's just gradual over time.
Yeah, linear, yeah.
Now we're going to see Origin group up towards his bot side. They do have the BF sword on Jinx. Once again, it's an item that he has over NL here.
Something we haven't talked about though, if Expected can lock Maple into this lane, the remaining members of OG form an incredibly strong and potent siege squad. Especially since Maple doesn't have teleport to join. If you get Lulu combined with Morgana there and Amazing on the Elise, around Niels as a squad there, you can just throw out these skill shots. One connects, facilitates the other one, and you can zone people off tower, so that may be something Origin will look for later.
I think it's one of the main ways Origin has a chance of winning this game, specifically with the Anivia wall as well, setting up sieges of turrets, walling off one side, and then going strong forward. Sword Art...
No flash this time.
Yeah, it doesn't have the flash to continue that gank. Even so, it would have been into a black shield, which is a really difficult gank to make work.
And this is why the Morgana pick actually works, because Aurelia wants to dive in, even use a minion to launch herself forward, but then if you have a black shield on Niels, you can just kite her.
Becca with a good setup here. He's gonna, I think, lose it eventually because the minions are doing some damage, so he's gotta, there you go, has to burst that one.
Every single CS. Nice job by Peke.
That's incredibly hard, by the way. Lost league on Nivea.
He must be Diamond.
It's like this guy's Diamond or something.
Well, Niels and Mythy back into the duel landing up against NL and Sword Art. 80 carries, honestly, roughly splitting it exactly. Soaz and Stake doing the exact same as well up the top lane.
And Amazing actually doing a really good job shadowing this lane here in the bot lane. Classic cool, but...
No binding hits though, but there's too much of the team around. Amazing's gotta run away. Black shield broken, hook! Woo. Nearly lands.
Look at Pekka, he can now push mid lane, even put a tiny wall down there, put some pressure. He's afraid to kill that tunnel.
I think for a pretty good reason.
He just wants to bait him into coming in them walls. That's it. He does that every time. He's like, you want to come this way? Sure, go ahead. Wall. Gets a couple extra hits here.
Fortunately, Anivia not exactly the best turret killer, so not a ton gained. But Origin get the ward control back over this bottom jungle. A couple wards down from Mythy, and the Scuttle are picked up as well.
So aside from the 2 ganks that Flash was successfully pulled off on Origin in the early game, this is the slow game. This is Soaz getting his Rod of Ages in the top lane. It's Stake not rushing to a Trinity Forest. The 80 carries slowly working up to their item breakpoints, and no one even going for an early Dragon. It is the slow, measured approach that we've seen in most of these matches.
This time, Amazing has been really better around the ball to really identify the weakness, which was the bot lane. He's just constantly been hovering around the bot lane. Expect a sped up now for a wall combo. Can't quite connect. And Soaz is fine in the top lane. So the only lane that could really get ganked there really was the bot lane. So Amazing constantly hovering around that, just getting Niels comfortably into a position where he can start carrying the game later on. I think Origin is fine with this approach.
And I think if this game does stretch really into the 40-minute mark without a large discrepancy, the Anivia Lulu combo in particular, to speed up the Anivia in order to get a wall, I think can be easily game-winning for Origin. It's their big edge in this matchup because they can get the team fights split up, and that allows Niels to then pretty much kill whoever he wants because they can separate the tanks from the damage dealers. And even though they're all squishy, it won't matter because it'll give them time to take down the tanks if they can execute it properly.
Yeah, I think Origin, that was actually the combo they ran initially because it turns wall from just a defensive peeling tool into actually an offensive weapon, because if you want to usually move up with Anivia to get in wall range, you just expose yourself. It takes too long to get in that position. Spectre now again teleporting back to lane with like 75% mana. He just really doesn't want to drop any bits of experience. Already on 40% here, and that siege is not going to work. It's just like last game. Maple will just wave clear, wave after wave.
And you can see that even though Niels had that short-term freeze earlier on, the 80 carries are actually back NL's way. Niels just not really outfarming that one anymore. Top lane matchup. Soaz and Stake, they trade hard CC, and now
the minions though helping Soaz here. Good positioning by him.
Kite back into the minion line. Couple 100 extra damage per second because of that one. The early average play pickup for Niels does help quite a bit, though. He's actually earned almost 400 gold from that so far. That's actually helping keep the gold as close as it is.
And Stake is still 800 gold away from Trinity Force. But Origin is fine not forcing on that early advantage either, because Rod of Ages versus not Trinity Force Aurelia would be better for the SOAS. Yep. But at the same time, I think it's just Origin being so confident in this late game team composition they put together. And when they get to the late game with gold even, they're fine playing this out for the next 15 minutes.
Well, and this is finally a game as well. We've had two, I'm talking about SOAS here, we've had two Darius versus Gnar matchups where SOAS can't push to win, and now two Lulu versus X matchups where SOAS is able to push. And Origin can actually play around one of their side lanes finally. Yamato Cannon talked about it on the analyst desk, and I agree with him, where there's this player to leverage in SOAS in the side lane. Getting him a good matchup, I think, is super relevant here, and you're seeing lanes and champions and turrets getting worn down from it.
I fully expect I had mana here, because then Origin could actually rotate, look for a dive in the mid lane. They can no mana here, but Maple kind of left his tower exposed.
Well, Niels is there. He did the early rotation.
He doesn't have teleport. Had to recall at some point to get upgraded boots and everything else, and Peke out pressures.
And now soul farming in the bot lane again, though. Panning my camera over. He really takes his time clearing his waves. That's how he wants to get subtle CS advantages. But you lose the map. You can do that when you have a winning top lane or there's nothing left to take, but it just loses you so much pressure. And there's only so much gold when you're freezing that you can get. It's like 20 gold for every minion, but it goes slower because you keep the wave frozen, as opposed to people taking towers, pressure, deep vision, jungle camps on the other side of the map.
Well, specifically, the Dragon is up right now while trying to freeze, so it becomes a much more punishable freeze. They've already lost the mid turret during that, and NL doesn't have much lifesteal from this, so much better reaction here from Origin this time around.
If Niels didn't stop to throw the Chomper first, they actually would have chain rooted NL. The Chomper actually activated right after he clicked on the Lantern. If he didn't stop for Zap, that would have been probably at least heal burn, maybe a bit more. Small misplay by Niels, but Dragon, of course, has been on the map for a while, and with the bot lane being forced out, actually, this is actually a time that Origin could have pressed hard for this play. They choose not to. It's going to be the farm game. Krug's going over. Easily picked up by Niels, and again, if we just contrast the two players' gold incomes, despite the fact that NL has a kill, the Jinx has more gold.
And the only matchup that's really far behind is Expect in the mid lane. So you can see on screen there, he's down 700 gold. But everybody else on Origin just excelling, because overall they're ahead of gold while their mid lane is down 700. So that's a big gold disparity in the remaining lanes. And because of the nature of the Anivia Victor matchup, if you don't die on level 6 on that all-in, it doesn't matter that you're down 700 gold, because all you do is literally just AFK farm those waves.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at SOAS against Stake, you can actually use that advantage.
Nice crit there, not far away, and nice jump to the minion. Just to look cool. Stake, they're losing a bad trade. The stun's gonna land. Peke really wants this one. Forces the flash away.
Yeah, that is what's expected. A lot of tenacity being built up by Stake already. Mercury Treads, plus he is Aurelia, who naturally has more tenacity the more enemies that are near. He should have the gold for Trinity Force
it's
now.
Still not quite enough to do. Stop for Merc Treads.
Oh, geez, you're right.
If not for Merc Treads, he'd have the item right now, but...
Well, if not for Merc Treads, he might have
died.
So.
Sure. I mean, I can't complain on that one.
Classic Stake, staying alive.
So much effort was put in the top lane by Origin that Flash Rolls were able to bring Karsa and then over to the Dragon.
You can see a cross map here. Push mid into rotation on top and dive on Stake. Could be a play that Origin's looking for right now. Moving Niels to the mid lane to hold.
He's got to hold his bot lane though. It's so pushed in towards him now. So has the way to fight with Stake, but Amazing's right there. Good. Oh no! Actually cued a minion to hit Cocoon, but doesn't matter. He's got tenacity.
Yeah. Also, when the Cocoon hit, that's when the stun timer starts ticking, but he's going to complete his movement from the Aurelia Q anyway, so he basically gets unstunned the instant he arrives at his target. I will say, like, it's yet another really slow game from Origin Flash Wolves, and this, while it's okay in the context of this particular matchup between these two teams since they're both slow, the other teams in this world are watching this, SKT as well as AHQ, two teams that play a much faster game style. AHQ kind of dominated Flash Wolves every time they played each other in the LMS, and obviously they're preparing for their matchup against each other, but if it gets to the semifinals with either one of these teams, there are so many vulnerabilities that are open in the early to mid game between these teams. As we are now, it's kind of like an arms race about who can get to late game safer.
Just who can invest more and then pull it all out, you know, 20, 30 minutes later on in the game.
And what a fantastic style it is, right? The slow, methodically, not boring at all approach with the Anivia.
Crepo reliving the glory days when he was a relevant League of Legends player.
This was the best time of League of Legends for Crepo. He's had this huge smile on his face this whole time.
Stuns land, so there's no damage follow-up. Sorta overextends, and he's gonna go down to Niels. Jinx is happy about that one. So as also buying some time with the Summoner Teleport. NL in a bad way, taking more damage. The flash knock if the rocket hits, and Peke from downtown gets the kill. But the fight isn't done yet. Flash Wolves waiting around the wing.
Oh, the CC chain.
But Karsa wants it. Black Shield is used on Peke. 3, 2, 1. He's stunnable. Niels goes down because the Black Shield went somewhere else. Maple forced a flash to run. More kills coming through. Stank is here for the cleanup. At least a little bit, but Karsa will be another casualty. And it's 4-2 for Origin.
Yeah, really bold aggression right there. After Flash Wolves lost 2 members early on in the fight, they're like, you know what, 3v5, we can get something back. We got some powerful people up, but it really just cost them more because now Origin gets to continue this push on to the turret and take a pretty big edge 20 minutes into the game.
First real lead they've had now in Game 4, 3,000 gold up for Origin. And if they close this one out, they make top 4 at Worlds.
Yeah, first real fight we've seen too, as the teleports activate, basically, as Victor is roaming down.
Yeah, now look at this player. Sword Art goes in, but he overextends. He drops almost immediately, and the CC chain just overall, it's just so strong. And especially in these longer, extended fights from Origin, binding Cocoon just comes up many times during the fight, whereas kind of Flash Wolves, they only have one trigger. They go in, blow it up, and then if that works, you kill him. If it doesn't, you're probably going to get kited.
Yeah.
Flash Wolves, one thing they're very good at is getting something after dying, though, and NL's already up in this top lane. He's going to stay around, feels safe enough. Turret goes down, binding still hits, but there's no follow-up.
Even so, the Avarice Blade is still ticking for Niels. This is a rather incredible Avarice Blade, I would have to say. Plus 599 gold for Niels already in this. You can see the fight that we just saw as well. How much work Maple nearly did right there. 7,400 damage just in that one team fight. Apparently that statistic is incorrect, so I apologize to the viewers. Never mind, me. I think he did a lot of damage, though.
I would almost wager he did.
Go ahead, say it.
Tons of damage.
But it wasn't.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay, we work together here.
Say it. Steal my pun.
We work together here. It's not a pun. What do you... Not everything that's a joke is a pun, Crepo. How have you not learned this so far? Flash Wolves trying to claw back in. 4-4 in kills. They're down a turret. They've got the first dragon. Next one comes up in 145. But Origin right now are starting to really take control now. Amazing is going very squishy, by the way. Rune Glaive into Rylia's Crystal Scepter. There is truly no tank on this team.
Yeah. And around 25 minutes is when these pushing side lanes that Origin have in terms of Lulu actually start opening up another win condition for them, which is the Baron. They can use the side lane pressure to draw people away, then get deep vision into jungle, and then really use their lineup to punish Flash Wolves. Because Origin lineups is the strongest when Flash Wolves have to face check into the dark, into a binding, into a cocoon, into zap and trap, into wild growth. There's so many tools, and they can even wall you in. If you, at any given point, lose complete vision on a Baron, you'll likely lose the game at that point.
Yeah. I am wondering, though, Stake is kind of in this mid-game power spike that he needs to be able to execute on. And when it gets to the late game, I think he's going to completely lose the power. But with the Spectre's Cal, Mercury Treads, and an Aegis, it's hitting an immense amount of magic just 13 minutes in. He will be at about 140 when he goes into these fights, which is actually a little lower than I was expecting, but still decently high, and have the large amount of tenacity coming in here. He's going to need to make it work now, otherwise I think Flash Wolves loses the game.
Mythi's build, though, such an incredibly greedy build. He gets the Talisman of the Nomad's Medallion, he gets the Forbidden Idol. He's like, okay, I can upgrade, but I like this whole, you know, gold generation thing going on, and I just want some more CDR. Double Forbidden Idol. He's sitting right now on 1.4k HP. He can get bopped in a single... If he accidentally looks the wrong way at Maple, Maple can QR him and just finish him off.
That's ridiculous.
But look at this. Flash Wolves have control over the Dragon area. They've got the wards down first. They've got the Scuttler as well. You can't remove that. You got to wait it out. Origin pressure mid as a reaction to this. And then right back they go down towards the Dragon area.
Yeah, this is going to be a big dragon right here. Obviously, there's one dragon for Flashwolves already, but they're just not in position to contest this one, and they're kind of losing out on this mid-game power spike. I think Origin's well on the way to outscaling.
Yeah, look at the zone control. Traps can close off an exit, Wall closes off the other one, so incredibly good understanding of their composition. If Flashwolves can close the gap, they can do a lot of damage, but you can close off exit number 1, close off exit number 2, and if Flashwolves don't even find door number 3, they can't even enter the fight.
They did lose a little bit of farm in the bottom lane there. You can see the AD carry behind 30 here as there was a push from the Flashwolves minions that just got absorbed by the turret. Minor loss there, not the worst thing in the world. Stake, do what he can, itemizing mostly magic resist. He thinks he can just stun the enemy AD carry, otherwise just surviving mages.
Something that does happen though to a lot of pro players is that they forget about the mid laner summoner spells. And at one point this fight can turn if they actually land CC on Maple, commit to him, and then get surprised by the cleanse. Actually happens very often, more often than you would think so. Yep. If Maple eats some CC, sidestep to follow up, he can turn on these fights, but looks that's not gonna happen.
Look at all this damage. A two-man play. Soaz pulls the black shield, and this team is ready to go to war. A knockup on Amithi's stake is in range. Now how much damage can he deal? Neil's off on the side, but here comes Maple. Morgana's already dead. The flash engage. Stake has 2. He's on the chase. Slows down Soaz. Getting hit up by Niels, but doesn't have enough damage yet as a 2-item Jinx.
Yeah, I mean, the incredibly greedy build of Mithy is punished right there. He died right before his ultimate was going to proc for the stun, and it's a big swing in this fight. Maple also trying to chase down Soaz.
And more importantly, look at Expeke. He was not part of that fight. He was in the bot lane base, walked to top, then he teleported. It's like, you know what? You guys are losing. I'm not going to join this fight.
Well, damage. Now Karsa is the one who's greedy. Niels gets one back. Soaz gets out.
Such a nice play there by Soaz and Niels. Really just saving each other and coming up on top. No way should Origin have been able to pick up a kill off the back of that fight, but they do.
I'll ask you the question though. Yes, Expeke had teleport, but it looks like they weren't planning a clear fight. They didn't know where Expeke, when he should teleport. Lack of communication there because they were sieging 4-man so aggressively. And they got surprised by the flank from Karsa, who actually only just got a support, so overall that should have still been a winnable fight by Origin, but the TP was so late. Watch that again. Karsa in the bottom left of your screen is flanking. Maple's running to the mid lane right now.
Yeah, this is where Peke would need to start channeling his teleport right now so that the chase would stop for Flashwolves, but they stay in there. Then he channels his teleport in a ward behind the fight and realizes he should cancel it. Just a bad teleport choice from Peke right there. Origin ends up burning their summoner spells, and if not for the Flame Chompers there, would have suffered more casualties. The CC chain continues.
Peke gets hooked!
Oh, that was bad for him. Gets away just in time. Oh. Nearly out of health. Shields keep him away. Of course, he has the egg either way, but still, that is a low health Anivia who can't be in this fight. No teleport either.
NL did take a fair bit of damage in that as well, though, so that's going to make it hard for Flashwolves to push down this. Plus, we have this threatening Jinx coming at them with a Lulu. This is such a breaker in this game. That's why I still think Origin has a big lead.
It's more than just the 2,000 gold. We got some great champions. They're hard to track down, too. 3 Mercury Treads on the lineup. They're hard to pick up.
Yeah, also later on, Mithy's obviously now finished up Talisman of Ascension, so they can get this team out of there, but later on he can also just get a Mikhails. That's another removal for Niels to keep him alive. That means Niels can probably go for a quadruple attack damage item build, and then just rely on the Mikhails, combined with the Black Shield, keep him out of harm's way. Because there's only 2 spells he needs to be careful about. That is the Aurelia stun and a potential hook from Sword Art. Both are incredibly easy to use Mikhails upon.
Yeah. Needs to get that as soon as possible. Another thing I like, actually, is this is the 3rd Victor game Maple has played and the 3rd Anivia game Peke has played. But they've done unique builds in all 3 matchups. Like, yes, Maple did go for the Abyssal Scepter, but now it looks like he's going for Death Cap as a second item instead of the Lich Bane, because he knows he doesn't have the Ghost this time to walk around and get Lich Bane procs. And Peke did the Athene's build because the early defensive necessity in this matchup, and then quickly transitions to the Liandry's. I love the adaptation from these guys.
Yeah, Maple couldn't win fights with this repetitive damage build, so he's more going for Shotgun Victor. Walks in, takes the CC, cleanse out Flash, QER, and hopefully blow somebody up in the process.
And of course, by contrast, Peke is all about the burn damage. He's got no magic pen, and he's got no big AP burst. Soaz also with an interesting build, gets Ardent Sensor, so really building around this Jinx as long as you shield her. He's going to have bonus attack speed and magic damage on hit. Could really take games over.
Why not?
I mean, Niels going on SOAS going on Sword Art here. He should be able to get popped here.
Auto attack doesn't even need to ult it. Gets the kill picked up. SOAS tanky enough. Niels does not get knocked up. A great cocoon by Amazing, buys a lot of time. And Origin are not done. Karsa goes down. Kill lead for Origin.
Peke was not there.
Yeah, teleport had to be canceled, but it didn't matter because this Niels-SOAS combination is so powerful. They don't even need Peke, and he's actually their trump card in later game team fights in the jungle. This is Origin looking like they're going to be moving on to semifinals if they continue to play smart.
Yeah, and I just love Niels' playstyle and attitude. Coming in as a rookie this young, going from challenge and only like unproven player, and he just doesn't care. Nothing phases the guy. They build an entire composition around him, and look at the damage he's doing right now to Steak.
They get the root on Steak. He can't stun anybody. There's a shutdown. More kills coming through. Mithy flashed away from Maple, and Victor just isn't doing any damage here. None that matters. Origin walk away with another kill to their name.
And it goes to show the danger that Flash Wolves have put themselves under. No true tank to face check. They were already down a member before that fight. Maple would have to expose himself there, and it's in the jungle, so they're already having to worry about the Anivia. Really, the cards are in Origin's hands. There's so many ways they can outplay Flash Wolves right here.
Flash Wolves still the master of getting something back. Mid lane outer goes down despite Anivia's best efforts. The game is within 4,000 here. Dragon's Tide. Righteous Glory, I believe, coming in next for Mithy after the Talisman of Ascension.
That means he
It
sold.
also builds into Aegis if he wants a Banner of Command.
He sold a Forbidden Idol.
Yeah, he did. He sold a second Forbidden Idol.
It's like we don't need defense, offense.
Yeah, I
It
feel
is
like
the best defense.
I feel like the Mikhails would have been good, especially with how much they're empowering Niels. But at the same time, it's still very small amount of CC, and Niels has the confidence to just outplay.
At the same time, though, it does mean that the only use for Mikhails is if Black Shield can't prevent the stun from Aurelia and the hook from Thresh. It's literally the only case where it's necessary, so it's almost too safe in that regard, because Niels, he's actually really good at positioning and staying out of harm's radar. And worst case, if he gets hit, Lulu will help him anyways.
Right. He's got ways to dodge everything, so going for that kind of a build here. So as his scaling build has paid off, that Rod of Ages doing just fine for him.
Didn't know we were running a kiss cam this time.
Just has to happen.
Yeah.
Has to happen, Crepo. I actually wasn't watching the pip cam, so I completely missed it.
I did too.
Some fine gentlemen in the crowd. I saw you guys, don't worry. I'm paying attention to you, London.
Hey, you're saying as if we aren't. No one left in my underground joke though, so now I'm kind of salty about it. It's okay. Origin looking for the death rush. Revealed by the trinket though, nothing picked up. Oh! That's a hook on a SOAS, that's a flash away, but Karsa does not get the knockup thanks to Wild Growth. There's no tank for the getaway.
Both teams with an interesting exchange there. If they don't fight, we can actually explain it. Usually when you see a Lantern come out, you want to try to Mad Life the skill shots to the position where people are Lanterning to, but Maple actually didn't decide to click that Lantern, so it was a bit of a bait on both ends there.
I do also think that Origin is playing a little bit sloppy. They keep using Peke as their split pusher, even though he doesn't have his teleport. Origin's so strong and confident right now with the SOAS Niels combination in the mid lane that they're getting away with it, but they are opening themselves up to a clean engage from Flash Wolves if Flash Wolves decides to go for a 5v4.
I mean, if you're playing Froggen champion, gotta keep farming.
345 CS, 33 minutes in.
Oh, there we go.
How about that?
But the thing is, Steak is actually out-farming SOAS here in terms of expectations of a matchup. Steak actually doing quite well, 3 completed items plus the Merc Treads. This is a durable Aurelia who can wreak havoc on the back line. So if she can get in alongside some other Bash buddies, there is some real threat here.
One thing we haven't taken into account is you don't need hard CC against the Jinx. If you can keep her moving, when she's not orb walking, trying to auto-attack at the same time, you're effectively CCing her damage. And Origin's composition relies on that damage to win fights, so when Niels is under pressure, under threat, the damage drops significantly in these fights, and that could be a potential comeback for the Flash Wolves.
Meanwhile, Amazing just now going into his first real tank item. After the Rylai's has the Aegis of the Legion in, we'll see if he goes for Locket or Banner of Command afterwards, but finally a Magic Resist Aura in for this team. So far, Origin have managed to dodge most fights they didn't care about. And it will be double Aegis, by the way, here for Origin, so I expect Locket from Amazing. banner from Miffy.
Yeah, that would be the logical choice for these guys. And so Origin not. Now they have SOAS down in the bottom lane, which kind of limits their mobility within the mid lane side, so Flash Wolves will be able to draw this one out a little bit longer.
Remember how Origin last game or 2 games ago tried to go in, realized if we kite, we'd be actually more prone to win these games. Flash Wolves could take a similar approach once NL hits 4 items, because he's going for the best damage build on Caitlyn, getting IH PD now. If he finishes up potentially Last Whisper, also getting like a Band-Aid, Band Scepter, just some lifesteal, he could actually kite well in these fights, and if Niels can't connect and chase in these fights due to the zone control a potential stake engage has on them, then NL can actually shred through the front line.
I'd actually rather, well, it's weird because even though there's no like true health tanks, Blade of the Rune King is actually still more DPS than Bloodthirster. And it's cheaper as well. He's behind significantly in gold under Niels, who is stacking up an Average Blade and has 4 kills.
But he may just go straight Last Whisper.
That is a possibility as well. Then even as a 4th item, still taking more shortcuts and catching up sooner.
Stake abandoning the split push. He's actually roaming down to the mid lane, so he set up a slow push at least. So Flash Wolves in about 2 minutes can use that to their advantage. Expeke realizes it is in base right now with the home guard, so Origin know how the split push game works, and they're trying to stop it in the setup phase.
Stake looks for the play. Niels feels confident with the black shield on and chucks Stake out.
We're really seeing the vulnerabilities of Stake Sorelli right here. It's getting towards late game. He can't even engage on the target he wants to reach. Niels is too fast for Stake to even get in range for a Blade Surge. Like, unless they get some ideal flank, they're already looking to get 5v4s, and they're not even accounting for the peel of the Anivia, and they're still incapable of getting these fights.
Yeah, the zone control coming out of mid lane, even without the Anivia, that split push. Now a split push is set up in the bot lane, so the exact same story that we were telling about the Flash Wolves now holds true for Origin. And look at that grit.
Puts the rocket in. Oh no! No one blocks it out, and NL is gone.
Heal burned as well there, so this is a powerful push for Origin because finally Peke has arrived.
And here they go into the mid lane. AD carry missing is a big deal. Anivia wall blocks off the moves and the turn's down.
Signature Anivia push. Ulti on the left side, wall on the right side, 4v5 inhib drops.
And now do they risk going for Baron right now? Karsa does have the ulti, pops it to get right up towards that jungle. Does have flash, does have smite. There are no wards inside the pit right now for Flash, but they can go in.
Well, it's a death cap Victor, but he's really far away, and this Baron goes down so fast. They need a way to stop the steal attempt, though.
Chompa's on one side, Karsa can still get in.
Yeah, this is buying a little bit of time. You can go in for the steal.
Doesn't quite land it, a good lantern out, but a clutch smite from Amazing. Another stun lands, Zap goes in, no kills.
It's a bold move, though, to go for a Baron. Relatively unnecessary.
But with that,
they do snowball the game, so.
Yeah. Origin is poised to move on to the semifinals. Already up 2-0. Baron in hand, superior team composition for the late game, and a massive power spike for Niels, who has just completed his last Whisper.
That is a very big jinx. SOAS gets to solo hold the mid lane with no competition. Dragon 3 an easy pickup afterwards.
Yeah, this is what we talked about earlier in terms like a lot of the issues with this Jinx pick versus Caitlyn got solved. You know, Caitlyn trades first, doesn't matter because Jinx is sped up and the auto attacks trade evenly.
Uh-oh, Karsa taking the wrong tunnel, gets off of the wrong exit. There's the last grid to take him out. Niels is huge.
He gets Pixie and Black Shield and gets sped up. He's a one-man army and there's nobody can trade against him because you have to trade almost 2v1 to win those trades, and then the remaining Origin members just follow suit and just throw out CC spells.
Well, when it all comes down to it, Origin put their faith in the rookie AD carry, and Niels trying to carry them into the World Championship semifinal. 6-1 and 3, the siege still happening. There goes the second inhibitor turret.
And Flash Wolves cannot repel this push, especially with Karsa down before the fight. And the thing is, they still have half of their Baron left, so they can use the empowered recalls, run straight to the next lane, and try and work on inhibitor number 3.
That's exactly where they go. Red buff on Niels. In case the movement speed wasn't enough, how about a slow on those rockets as well? Niels can crush this game.
And then, yeah, Expect as Anivia right now, only on 3 items, just The utility it brings to the siege, though, if you do get in that position, you shut off exit number 1 on the right side, you completely wall that off. If you want to get to the tower to defend it, you gotta go through the Anivia ulti, you're slowed, and then it's incredibly easy target practice for Mithy, and amazing with Binding Cocoon, so there's almost no counterplay unless you're flanking this lineup. Maple, though, gets predicted.
Whoa, big burst of damage, but it's not enough to win the team fight outright. Maybe there's gonna be some follow-up. SOAS teleports in to be a bit more of a support there. A big 3-man stun, they're gonna go back in. Origin don't find the attacks yet, though. Niels gets Whimsy. Looking for an attack.
So that was actually super greedy SOAS right there. He was killing Gromp, trying to get enough money to recall and buy a death cap and then join the siege, but the team got initiated on, so he had to burn his teleport from Gromp. And now Origin may be a little bit repelled on this push.
Look at the base, so they can take their time here. They're just waiting for the minions to pile in, but Flash was finally adapting. It's the same way like we talked about split push. If you let it happen, it's too late. Niels, Black Shield.
And he's just going to be fine with it. Doesn't really even care about the turret aggro. Another turret goes down. 8 in the game for Origin here.
You gotta flank this Origin lineup. You can't defend from the front. It's impossible to really do that.
There it times out, but look at that. You can't go from the front, and Anivia wall blocks off half the passage. Stake goes in, Sword Art low on health, and here comes the fight. Karsa killed off already. Sword Art should be next. Black Shield was down. They buy a bit of time. Another couple of kills come through as Stake has nowhere to go. A few more shots will do it. Oh. Boom! The kills come in, and this could be the semifinals for Origin. There's only one man left alive. This will surely be the base, and Europe has a semifinalist in the World Championship as Origin win 3-1.
.40 and 32 seconds in, and that one failed quick. But honestly, Origin, their most controlled and strong game yet. They systematically wore down the Flash Wolves as the series progressed, using the Jinx Lulu against Flash Wolves expertly. And honestly, Peke, 3 Anivia games of all champions to give them their 3 wins here in the quarterfinal.
A fantastic champion.
Yep. Get back with mechanics and turning on enough abilities, blasting in a turret. I mean, a beautiful game. Peke proving he still has it. The Season 1 world champion coming back to the world stage here many times now on his own team.
He is performing a lot better than he was at the end of summer. Spec always comes out and says, well, I know they talk about me like this, I don't care, but there was grounds for critics, but he definitely improved a lot. But Origin's still showing some weaknesses in their gameplay, but at the same time, looking at the road they came from, getting top 4 at Worlds.
It's so remarkable. This was a challenger team in the spring split. They form up in the European LCS, and then they're now the first European team to qualify for the semifinals since Peke and SOAS did it 2 years ago. Last year, Europe didn't have a team make it to the quarterfinals. This year, Peke makes a team, owns it, and plays in it, and makes it all the way to the semifinals in the first year. Really remarkable accomplishment by not just Peke, but that entire lineup to make it in 3-1 as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got, as we've kind of talked about a little bit, plenty of veterans in this lineup. Mithy went to Worlds on Lemon Dog. SOAS has been to so many of them on various teams. AAA, Fnatic now on Origin as well. Amazing went with TSM not too long ago. Last year, if I remember properly. And every time, it's an interesting story. These players come together as friends. They pick up this rookie AD carry in Niels. As you were saying, he's undaunted by everything. He never cares who he's against. Never afraid. Frontline Jinx, no big deal. Hasn't played the champion all split long. Plays a few solo queue games on it, and it's like, yeah, just bring it out in the quarterfinals at Worlds, no big deal.
What I like the most about him is whenever you talk to him after a match, and you go like, dude, well played. He's like, nah, I didn't do anything. Well, you played perfect. Yeah, but I didn't do anything, right? It's like, for him, playing perfect in terms of not getting caught, doing the right moves in every single fight is standard. He only considers a good performance if he really hard carries, makes the massive outplays. Just that mindset is just, yeah, fantastic for a rookie, just so confident.
Yeah, absolutely, and maybe there's going to be a very long and storied career ahead. Now, of course, these guys are going to be waiting for the other quarterfinal, of course. AHQ Esports Club versus SK Telecom T1. I mean,
I mean, semifinals nice. You know,
Either way,
Origin
it's
can go
a
home
harder-
really happy after
of
getting
course.
crushed by SKT.
I mean, the thing is that no matter what, it's a harder opponent for Origin. You either have HQ, who just did better than Flash Wolves in the LMS, or you have SKT, who, you know,
It's SKT.
is SKT. It's the favorite of the tournament, really. So,
Although I did hear their mid laners underperforming a little bit.
yeah, you know, overrated player, that faker. And I still stand by it. We'll see in the next quarterfinal tomorrow. But, I mean, obviously, SKT is a great team. But the team we're going to watch, of course, is this Origin here. We've got Peke and Niels getting set up for an interview. Those are two guys I definitely want to talk to. Peke just leading the team this far, and Niels doing this well in his first year in competitive play.
I think what's pretty fitting is in that last game, Peke didn't do much. He died 2 times in mid lane at the start of the game, split pushed the side waves, and just kind of like watched his team destroy the mid lane throughout this game as he was off in the side lane farming. But, you know, these were really close and competitive games until the 4th one. You know, first game, second game, little swingy moments could have gone either way. Even the game that Flash Wolves did win, there was a random Dragon Steal and Baron Steal from 50 health.
The most interesting point, I think, in this entire series was just the pentakill from Soas. Not the fact that he got a pentakill, but just the manner, the chaos, what just happened was really weird. Flash Wolves should have taken that game, but just left that opportunity open, and I think that was the tipping point for this entire best-of series. Pulling Origin ahead there, but...
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not at a World Championship about how good your team is theoretically. It's how well you play on the days. There's teams like LGD that bombed out in the group stage that were really good on paper and didn't show up on the games when it mattered. And Flash Wolves, in some very close games, they clearly could have won. The team was good enough to win this series, but in those games, they didn't make the right choices. They got outplayed. Peke made the right calls, and Origin won it. And a well-deserved quarterfinal 3-win victory, absolutely deserved for these guys. And that's going to be it for us for this matchup. But for an inside look at that Origin quarterfinal win, let's throw it down to Shocks for a word at some of the winners.
Thank you very much, guys. As I'm joined here by Peke and Niels after securing their spot in the semi-final at Worlds. You guys don't seem overjoyed. Why is that?
No, I think we're really happy. The only problem is we're a bit exhausted after those games, maybe. Because it's nervous. Even if it was 3-1, I think we were all really nervous all the time. So, but I'm super happy.
Niels?
I mean, we don't like stand up and shout and scream or everything, but I'm really happy myself that we made it so this far. So.
This far already. You mentioned maybe a little bit of nervosity. Am I correct in assuming that those weren't the cleanest games? Did you guys feel that as well? Because some calls in games 1, 2, and 3 didn't seem like the best you guys could do. What did you think?
Yeah, well, game 1 was good in terms of calls, like game 2 as well. The only problem in game 1 was the LeBlanc on side lane. Ruined every call we did, pretty much, because every time we had a plan, he got a kill, and it was really hard for us to do much. Second game, it was easier, I feel, like in game plans. Even if we were maybe behind, it was easier for us to rotate, take stuff around, except for one misplay we did. And yeah, game 3 obviously was like the turning point, in which we had a harder time making plans, and then the game 4 was only the early. I played a bit bad, but after that I farmed and I got carried. So
you farm and you got carried, and Niels on that Jinx, something we haven't seen you play that often. Tell me how it was, because it was all in your hands, much like Tristana. I remember when you played it at the summer finals.
Yeah, we practiced some Jinx. Like, I think I played 10 games solo queue on this champ, but besides that, it was first time. But we decided that doing this with Tristana takes too much time before you get enough range for you actually to like, be able to run down mid and like just, you know, use shields and speed to get mid. But so we just practiced some Jinx recent days. Also, we knew that there was a priority pick for them. So it's like a take away from them and get a good Lulu champion. Yeah,
we did check your solo queue records on Jinx. It wasn't fantastic, but it was great in T-Scare. Just playing around. But you guys made it in the end. But of course, the next chapter, semifinals, fantastic. But now AHQ or SKT? Is there enough growth potential in your team? Can you fix up the mistakes you have here to get further? And how do you think about that? Because you've been here, you've been in the semifinal. Hell, you've won the whole thing.
Well, I think it's... yeah, I mean, we haven't faced SKT at all, so we don't know.
Never lucky.
Never lucky. Not bad.
Not bad. Just talk. Just do your thing.
It's too funny to ignore it. Yeah, I don't know. We haven't played against SKT, so we don't know exactly how strong it is to face them, but they look really, really strong just from watching them play. So it's going to be really hard, but the good thing now is we have a lot of time compared to other teams. We have like 3 days now that teams are going to practice us, that we're going to get to see how they play, that we're going to be able to adapt and maybe learn a few things while fixing mistakes. And right now I cannot say, obviously, because I would probably say they are better just from watching them play, because we don't have clean games while they had every game really, really clean, except 1 or 2. So, but we will see for next week.
Or AHQ, of course.
Or AHQ, but it's going to be SKT as well.
All right. Niels, what is your feelings going to that next step? Because you proved that if Origin puts everything on you, you can do it. But will that be enough in the next round?
I mean, if we play as today, then I don't think we will win, because we got a bit lucky today, I would say. I mean, the games were good, but we got a bit lucky. So, but we have some time to practice now, so maybe.
Maybe. Well, that's a good thing to recognize. You don't feel overconfident. Finally, Peke, you've been around all of these crowds already, but I can imagine this never gets old. Is there anything you want to say to all these people?
I mean, it's still super nice, you know? Like, sometimes I'm a bit like, why do they sound for me or something? But every time they do it, I get like super sigh and a smile, you know, because in the end, I get super happy, you know? Like this.
Like this. Niels?
What was the question again?
Is there anything you want to say to these guys?
Oh yeah, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much.
That's a catchy one. Niels. All right, well, thank you guys very much. Congratulations. Origin in the semifinals at Worlds. And now back to you guys.
Thank you, Shox. A huge congratulations to those guys. Well deserved. Want to jump into this game, though, because during Champion Select, we saw the Jinx picked up pretty early, and collectively, the entire desk let out a giant groan saying, what the hell are they doing? It didn't work out for them last game. Why are they going for it again this time around?
I think the interview from Niels really helped us understand why they picked it. So they realized that they needed a better AD carry for the Lulu. The Kalista can work, but it's not that effective compared to the Jinx. So they went with it, even though he had a couple of games of solo queue with it. Probably not that many in the practice. Similar to how they picked Vladimir in the group stages, even though they've never really played it before. I feel like they went with the same thing this time around. And I mean, Niels just carried so hard. The damage he did was 35,000 by himself. His team's damage, all 4, did 37,000. 2,000 shy of literally out-damaging his whole team.
Yeah, and you know, we said going into this game, get the Elise, get some winning lanes, put pressure on it. They're like, no, we don't care. Elise, you can run around, do whatever the heck you want. And Ivy, you can do whatever you want. We got like 2 support champions, an Ardent Sensor, and like we're just gonna go nuts apparently and win the game.
Like to me, I thought the Aurelia was hilarious because I was making like a joke before the game, like before the last week came in. I want to see stake on Aurelia because that champion requires you to do things. Like I think in team fights he did well, but in the matchup against Lulu he needs to do better. He needs to itemize Sheen. He needs to play around the split push pressure because eventually Aurelia's not gonna do anything against Anivia, against Lulu. He needs to split push and he did nothing.
And moving forward in this tournament, I actually feel like that is the next step. Can you get a legitimate split push threat, looking once again at Fiora, that can actually break up these Protect comps? Because we've been talking about it. Protect is a legitimate strategy that's existed in, like, since Vayne, Season 1. So this has been around. Split push has always been the answer to it. Get a really good split pusher. Don't let your top laner that is so important to the composition go to the AD carry and make that juggernaut type of carry. Just keep her on the other side of the map. They had a chance to do that with the Aurelia and just failed in the execution.
Yeah, I was going to say, in the early game, we saw Flash Wolves getting a lot more aggressive. We had wondered if either of these teams were going to find a way. We saw multiple ganks to the mid lane this time around, picking up a couple kills on Xpeke, as was mentioned. However, beyond those 2 deaths, he didn't die again.
It was a very refreshing thing to see them take the initiative and really punish the lack of dual combat summoners in the mid lane. But then we saw the exact same thing. Niels, being such a star player, has out CS NL in every single matchup. So now NL forces himself to freeze the wave, and then this time around, they learn from the mistakes in all 3 previous games, and they just say, you know what, go middle with Anivia, take the tower quickly, and then just really get the game going by accelerating the gold lead, and it was a good thing to see them at least learn from previous games and put it into play.
It's also something that I've been worried about thinking of Origin. They've always had this playstyle where they make sure to have stronger side lanes because that alleviates pressure from mid. And in this particular game, they have this weaker bot lane matchup because of the Caitlyn, and that allows the support to roam, and XPEC is not used to that. During the regular split, they were playing always to this strategy where they had a stronger top lane, a stronger bottom, and XPEC was always safe because the pressure came in. That's why it was so uncharacteristic, this particular game from Origin. Like, overall, it's just so weird to me.
I also think you have to give credit to the way that Casa and Sword Art do unpredictably move around the map. They do it very sporadically, and like that 4-man gank on mid lane is what I was looking at. For like 1 second, it looked like Jinx was going to freeze. All of a sudden, 3 summoner spells burn in the mid lane, and they just completely took Peke off the map.
Now, I do want to jump into a replay. 19 minutes into the game, we have a fight in the bot lane, which ends up bringing everybody down there. But interestingly enough, XPEK's build, which was different this game than the previous games, has a pretty big effect on this fight.
Yeah, so at this time, he usually would be having a Catalyst or a Tear of the Goddess, both combined at the same time. But this time, he switches it up after dying a lot in lane, thinking, I need to spike a little bit sooner. So he goes with the Grail and the Haunting Guys, which is going to be a lot more damage, specifically around this time. So you can roll the clip, and now a big thing is going to be Stake's teleport is way too far, and there's a miscommunication with the flashes and going in. At this point, Origin is in a really good spot. Okay, get the kills, and then you see it's a 5 versus 3 right now with Stake flanking from the back. And this is already a very won fight from Origin. Once you get the kill on the Caitlyn, she's no longer a threat, especially far away from the tower, and Flash will just have to run. This is literally a 3v5. Like, you just can't win this.
At this point, Stake actually had a way to win this fight. I think that if he had to prioritize with Maple, they could have maybe pulled something together, but the split focus and then Maple getting chunked out was just such a nail in the coffin.
It's like definitely like they were chasing after the Jinx while Anivia, with the build that you mentioned, was in the middle of the pack, and they could have just simply focused on Anivia, which was the bigger threat at this point because Jinx hadn't even finished her IE.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was a huge uncharacteristic mistake out of Casa and Sword Art. You saw that Sword Art would have taken Casa into the middle of 3 people. There's only 1 black shield for the triple knock-up. Instead, he tunnels into the brush because he wants to wait for Maple to get there. Obviously, Sword Art got a very different message at the start of that fight and flew into his death.
Now, lessons to be learned, though, from this series for Origin. We've talked already about some of their failures to pull the trigger when they have leads and some of their uncharacteristic missteps here and there in terms of handing leads back.
The biggest thing for me was how Shock said, mentioned in the interview, these weren't the cleanest games. And I was really happy to hear Niels' response to that as to if they play like this, will they go further in the tournament? He's like, no. Like, we need to improve a lot. There's a lot of room for us to practice and really refine our play. This is not the best Origin we've seen in the tournament. They had a lot of spectacular games during the group stage, and they plan on at least buckling down and really watching what they did wrong and accelerating the game, playing more to how they want and not being complacent. So I really like about that.
Yeah, I want to see Amazing step up. I know that he's a great jungler. He performed really well towards the end of the split especially, even in group stages. And when he gets the eyes on the other jungler, because he is such a good Elise player, he looks dangerous. In these games, he didn't look dangerous. So I'm looking for Amazing in particular to rebuild some of that synergy with Mithy and become that threat around the map that we're used to seeing out of these European teams in the lane swap.
It's like, for me, it is just going back to the roots. They need to play this style where they were playing around the early game because this is the consistent way of playing. Like in these matches, for example, gave me flashbacks in the matches against TSM. They kind of rely on the enemy to make mistakes, rely on the enemy not to pressure the right points. And I think that kind of a play style going into the next part of this tournament is not going to work at all.
Well, I want to move on to a certain player that really shined as his team took the next step in the World Championship, and that was Origin's Niels. With a KDA of 7.8 and 83% kill participation across 4 games, he is our player of the series.
Yeah, and as I said, I get to watch the LPL. I get to watch Uzi, Imp, Death, these guys fly around the Rift. Niels had a performance today to completely rival the great AD carries. We had a mentioning of Starhorn Royal Club with Uzi flying around from Yamato Cannon, but this guy was a monster the whole series long.
I mean, there's a reason why he's my first pick in my fantasy draft. He was so outstanding, and the biggest thing was understanding when he can really push the limits of the champion and flash in his AD carries. It's a difficult trait to learn if you're learning that, but we saw him flash, auto, cancel the, get the next auto reset with the ricochet on Saver and chunk out a LeBlanc literally outside of the team fight, flashing in right at the end, knowing that you're gonna get the AoE crit and just blow people out of the water. It was really nice to see an AD carry really be aggressive, because when you get so many resources put into you, when your Lulu is building an ardent sensor for you, you better play like that.
An item that no one on this desk thinks anyone should build ever, but it was built nonetheless.
It's like I was super happy that even the team, like Origin, realized, yeah, Nils, you're playing like a god, we're playing kind of mediocre, so we just give you everything and just go ham.
Yeah, and you know, for such a young player, we say it all the time, the attitude after the game, the maturity he shows when he defers to the captain, he's definitely a guy that on and off the rift is a huge upside for his team. So can't wait to see him play in the future, honestly.
That to me is most impressive. His mentality, the way of thinking about the game, his attitude in and out of game, and how he sees the team improving moving forward.
It's an S+.
That is an S+ player right there.
He's shrinking.
Oh, that's the secret to the algorithm that we didn't know. It's all about how you are mentality-wise. SOAS also stepped up when it mattered, though, and Jay Folksy noticed they tweeted a penta and a backdoor in one game. Origin, please, here's your world's big play of the day.
Here's the battle. Karsa alone in front, absorbing, gets dunked. SOAS is online. Maple's down. He's still going. He doesn't get the third as Azonius comes across. He gets some damage on his stake. He gets the rocket kill. He's on the NL, and it's going to save the game.
You just fall to the wayside throughout the mid-game, and then 30 minutes hit, Darius pentakill. Maple actually got picked off. He wasn't sneaky enough on the LeBlanc. The stun from Peke just to set up SOAS for all of this power. Oh my God.
That new angle on the replay, on top of the fact that it's basketball Darius, makes it so much better. It looks like he's just dribbling around the court and styling on people.
Pretty sweet highlight reel.
Here we go again, you know, Darius pentakill, you know, just mash your buttons. but to be fair, I think this one required more mechanical skill than the one Balls did, because I think pretty much.
He fully utilized that whole kit. Like, he got a two-person, like, spinny circle thing that gives you 1 million health.
Spinny circle
like,
thing.
What the heck is going on
I'd
with
like
that
to
right
formally submit a request that we rename that spell to spinny circle thing that gives you a lot of health. Decimate. Is Q.
Yes.
All right, there you go.
He's out of control.
He is out of control. We'll see if people can find a way to deal with him. Now, with one quarterfinal match settled, let's take a moment to update the bracket. With their win, Origin will advance to the next round of the tournament in Brussels, where they'll face the winner of tomorrow's best-of-5 set between the LCK's SK Telecom T1 and the LMS's AHQ Esports Club. Looking at that matchup, gentlemen, we've said time and time again that it looks rather one-sided. Favorites of the tournament, SKT up against AHQ. But thoughts on it?
Even Origin is expecting to just play SKT, and to be honest, I would be surprised if they even created preparation against AHQ because of just how impressive SKT has been looking so far. You obviously have to give some credit to AHQ, but you know the chances are slim, to say the least.
To be fair, I feel like anyone that would go up against SKT at this point would be in the same shoes that AHQ are. Like, I feel like no opponent in this tournament.
In terms of public perception going in terms of their status.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like AHQ, even though, of course, they're the underdog in this particular matchup, I feel like it is the best matchup we could possibly hope for, because AHQ have proven in the past they are willing to put up a fight.
Yeah, that's what I love about HQ, right? They're going to attack everyone to their strengths and not the other team's strengths. So they're going to get down and dirty. They're going to look to play a little bit of Tom Kench themselves, run on around the map and see what they can get done. The thing about SKT at the moment, though, is that was their weakness at MSI. They didn't like scrappy fights. Against EDG, they proved that they are more than happy to take the scrappy fights. In fact, they whooped their butt at them. So, like, there's just... How much hope do you give HQ once again?
Right, yeah, the three-headed dragon grew a fourth head. They can do everything now. All right, well, pregame coverage begins for that match tomorrow at 5 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. That's 9 a.m. Pacific, so don't be late. That goes for you three gentlemen as well. Don't be late. Until then, we need to sign off. On behalf of everyone here covering the 2015 World Championship, thank you for joining us. Be sure to stick around, though, because in 15 minutes, Shox, Deficio, and Jat will be here for their take on today's game with another episode of Worlds Tonight.
Hello, London! We're here at the SSE Arena for the very
semi-final.
Here comes the team. Oh dear! Poaches an egg. He gets some damage on this thing. He goes over the handle. He's on the handle. And it's going to save the game. Origin dropped the Nexus in game 1. Here we go. A massive knockup. And here comes the chain CC and the damage. There come the recess and Jinx is excited. Welcome them here.
No flash.
No flash.
Take care of the Victor. Elise after, Elise. Victor on me.
Jinx.
Victor is slow. You can fight.
Origin start their quarterfinals 2-0.
Just chill, dude. Just chill.
Why can't you chill?
Why don't we sit here and chill, dude?
Why don't we just sit here and chill?
Yeah. Why not? Play some League and chill.
Baron naturally plenty of damage. Niels maybe won't take it for himself. He goes in with SOAS. They gotta be careful. Oh my god! And again, it's no kills. It's just flash rolls taken. Game 3. And L in a bad way, taking more damage. The flash knock if the rocket hits, and Peke from downtown gets the kill.
Now holds Super Origin, and look at that grit.
Puts the rocket in. Oh no! And Europe has a semi-finalist at the World Championship as Origin win 3-1.